So the way we have structured the seminar is that there are two parts to it. The first part is around analytics industry, the landscape, and what kind of careers can one have. And the second part is more about the program, where I have compiled a few questions that I have heard from most candidates over the years. And post that, we'll have a Q&A discussion as well. One thing that could help is that as we go along, you can start typing in questions, but I would advise you to wait till the end of the webinar because I'm sure by the time I'm through with this presentation, most of your questions would be answered. So without any further delay, let's get started. So first of all, welcome to the postgraduate program in Business Analytics and Business Intelligence, which is offered by Great Lakes in collaboration with Illinois Institute of Technology. Apart from being the largest analytics program in the country today, largest executive analytics program in the country today, we also are now consistently ranked as the best. And it is one of the few programs that actually has an international collaboration and international recognition as well. More about all of that much later. But let's first begin by understanding what's happening in the world of analytics. So I'm sure all of you have heard about big data and analytics and how it has come into a very commonplace parlance in the last 5 or 6 years increasingly. And the impact is such that today all kinds of businesses, when I say all kinds, I'm referring to scale as well as industry, different industries and different scales of businesses are using analytics in one form or the other. Analytics itself is a large spectrum of services, but it is hard to imagine a business today that operates without using data to make decisions, and that is essentially the crux of analytics. In this slide, what I have presented are two major sectors where analytics is the biggest in its contribution. One is risk analytics, which relates to the finance industry, financial risk analytics, and the other is marketing analytics, which is all about consumer study, consumer behavior, churn, increasing sales outreach, and so on. And the idea that I want to put forth in this presentation or in this slide is just look at the phenomenal growth that is happening in these two sectors. So if you look at the financial risk analytics sector, in 2013, this was at 700 million, and it's touted to grow to about 2.5 billion just in India by 2020. That's almost 4x. Similarly, marketing analytics, which was at 200 million in 2013, is slated to grow to 1.2 billion by 2020. That's 6x. And I don't think there are many other sectors or industries where we are witnessing a growth like 4x and 6x in a span of 6 to 7 years. This is quite unprecedented, and it also indicates the impact and the growth path that analytics and all analytics professionals are slated to have in the times to come. Earlier, I was telling you about how analytics today cuts across businesses. It is hard to imagine a company that doesn't use analytics in some form or the other. And here, of course, because of the paucity of space, I can't list all companies, but just look at the spectrum of companies where analytics is now a main service. So when you look at this, I'm sure what you see is that these are companies that are cutting across different sectors. You have consulting, analytics consulting and services companies like New Sigma and Fractal and WNS and Genpact. You have banks such as Citibank and Bank of America and HSBC and ICICI and all these. You have a lot of IT companies out there such as Cognizant and Wipro and HCL and TCS, Infosys. You have a lot of technology majors such as Google and Amazon and Flipkart. You even have telecom companies such as Airtel. And in fact, the latest has been that even FMCG companies, which usually are the farthest away from any kind of technology intervention, have also started deploying analytics solutions to solve business problems. So you can actually now see analytics teams or consumer insights teams within Pepsi, within Coke, within Hindustan Unilever, and so on. So if such large is the scope of analytics, as a service, it is worthwhile to understand what do analytics professionals do. And while there can be a lot of complicated and long-winding responses in saying what analytics professionals do, but the best that I've seen is that analytics professionals are essentially folks who have the ability to talk to data. But that's not where it stops. what is more important to understand is that they should actually be able to make data talk to them. Because as an analytics professional, your main armor is the data that you have. And the more that you can actually interact with this data, the more that you can talk to this data and make that data talk to you in terms of what patterns you see, what insights you can derive, what inferences you can present. That is the life or a day in the life of an analytics professional. Which brings us to a question that, why is there this sudden need to talk to data, right? And the answer is pretty simple. It is because there is just so much of it. In today's time and age, we are inundated by data, right? Data is there in every transaction or every action that we take, or at least most actions that we take, living in the digital age. Think about a day in our lives. Whether it is, sending a message on WhatsApp, or whether it is liking a post on Facebook, or retweeting someone on Twitter, whether it is using your card for some kind of a transaction, or whether it is accessing services through a website. Everywhere, there is data that is being recorded, there is data that is being captured. Your customer persona, so as to say, is being built automatically, so that companies can understand you better. And that is how important data has become, and thereby analytics has become in today's time and age for businesses. And it's interesting that this has been an evolution. So when people often comment that analytics is a recent phenomenon, it's actually not a recent phenomenon. Analytics has been around since late 1960s, early 1970s. One of the industries that was using analytics a lot was the financial industry. They've always been looking at data in that respect. But the difference that has happened is that in the last decade or so, analytics has become mainstream because data has become mainstream. Previously, companies used to look at data as a liability. Today, the the tectonic shift that has happened is that data is considered today as an asset and no more a liability. Today you can't think of a company that is ready to part with its data. And you can see, on the slide there are a few facts that I presented, which actually goes on to indicate the enormous amounts of data that we've been creating. It's a well recorded fact that now roughly in every 2 years we create more data than what has ever been created before, and that period is only going to shrink as we keep going ahead, right? In August 2015, there were 1 billion people who accessed Facebook on the same day. That was the first time it happened, but then after that, it's happened many, many times. But imagine 1 billion people accessing Facebook on a given day. What is the amount, what is the volume and variety of data that is being generated there? And how is a platform like Facebook coping with that kind of data? How are they using that kind of data? So it is not unfair or unrealistic to think that in today's economy, it's data that drives businesses. And because data is so critical and so crucial to the way businesses make decisions, analytics has become a very core service or a core dependency for most businesses. So given that this is the landscape and this is the future that we live in, how does one become an analytics professional? So the first part of that is that what is it that you need to have? You need to have good quantitative skills. And when I say quantitative skills, let me clarify. I'm not trying to say that you need to be a statistician. In fact, statisticians and analytics professionals are two different breeds altogether. You know, uh, analytics. It is really important to understand that analytics is applied in a business context. You know, your client or your management does not really care for how complicated your model is, as much as they care for how accurate it is and what is the story that you are going to tell. Right? So, hence, it is important that you have that knack and liking or propensity to work with data, to work with numbers. If you're someone who is apprehensive of numbers, or if he does not enjoy working with data and numbers, then of course, this is not the right field for you. The second aspect, which is often overlooked, but is by far the most important aspect, is that you need to have a very, very logical and analytical thought process. Because think of it, analytics is actually problem solving. As I'm sure some of you have experience in the analytics industry, but for the benefit of those who don't have experience, imagine the kind of problems that companies are solving with analytics. These are open-ended problem statements, right? Uh, a telecom company is trying to use its subscriber data to figure out, why is there churn in their subscriber base, right? Another telecom company is trying to look at subscriber data and billing data to see in terms of, okay, how can I increase revenues from data services instead of voice services? What kind of deals should I package, right? So, as just to give an example that all of us understand, as uh, as we are increasing our mobile consumption, the kind of offers that you see through SMSs or calls and stuff, all of that is actually being derived from a data layer, a data engine that is studying consumer behavior. Another commonly encountered example is e-commerce, right? The way you shop, your shopping history, your browsing history, everything gets recorded, and you are then mapped across a chart with people just like you. And then there is a lot of machine learning and predictive modeling that's happening there to tell you that if you have bought this, you may also like this. Right? So all of this is actually at the core of it is that you are trying to solve a very very business oriented problem, right? And to solve that business oriented problem, even before you get into creating algorithms or creating models or applying solutions, you have to first solve the problem logically enough in your mind, right? And that is why it is important to have a logical and analytical thought process. The third aspect is that you should be hungry to learn more and keep learning more. You know, even once you clear this program or any other or any amount of learning in analytics, your learning journey or your learning curve is never going to stop, right? Because analytics as a field is evolving at such a rapid pace that if you have to keep up with it, if you have to do well in your career, you need to go back, you need to have that inclination to keep learning and keep improving yourself. So what is it that you need to learn? The first basic foundation of analytics lies in statistics. So you have to learn statistics. But again, learn statistics not from a theoretical standpoint. And that is where the difference between an analytics professional and a statistician emerges. Is that you have to learn statistics from an application point of view by understanding how are statistical concepts applied to business scenarios. And in that kind of a situation, it is also very important to understand business context. The second major pillar that you need to learn is analytics methodology. So analytics as a field of study begins with advanced statistics, goes on into predictive modeling and clustering and data mining techniques and advanced algorithm techniques and so on. And you need to understand what do these techniques mean. What kind of scenarios can you apply a given technique in? What kind of scenarios can you not apply a given technique in? How do you then apply that technique and derive insights, right, and present to your management or client. And for the final layer of learning, of course, is that you need to analytics being uh, you know a field where you have to work with a lot of data. You need to be proficient in tools such as, at the very basic, when data is not very huge, companies use Excel and Excel miner, but that again, as I'm telling you, is at a very small layer of data. But anything beyond that, you have to be proficient in SAS, R, or Tableau. So, with that general introduction to what the world of analytics holds for all of us, let me take a quick dive into the program details. Into the postgraduate program in business analytics and business intelligence, and let me help you understand the program a little better. The way I have structured this part is that I have made my slides as a series of questions that I have encountered with candidates over the past so many years. And I'm hoping that by the time I'm through with this, most of your questions are also answered here. But however, if that is not the case, we will have a Q&A session towards the end, and feel free to post your questions and actually take them up. So the basic fact sheet about the Great Lakes PGP-BABI program is that it's a program that is designed for working professionals, exclusively for working professionals. And that is why it's an executive program. That is why it's a 12-month blended program, which means Part of the time you spend in the classroom, which happens over 1 weekend every month, and rest of the time learning happens online. The way the schedule is drawn up is that it causes minimal disruption to your work, which means you don't have to take a lot of leaves to pursue this program, and you can pursue the program along with your work schedule. This is the only program that is designed to help working professionals move to business roles or techno-functional roles in analytics. And I will come to that in a short while in terms of what these roles are. We've of course been fortunate, and we're grateful to all the companies that endorse us and have helped us in gaining this topmost slot in analytics programs in the country. And finally, the Great Lakes PGP-BABI program has been ranked number one now for the second year running in India, and it also happens to be the largest analytics program in the country now. Every year, there are more than 1,000 students who enroll with us across our 6 centers in India and go on to pursue the program and have successful careers. So, first question: what will you learn in the program? I gave you a brief glimpse earlier when I said that the program is designed to help working professionals graduate into business and techno-functional roles in analytics, right? But let's take a deeper dive and understand how is that done. The way that happens is that you begin by learning the business context and the business foundation. This is where you get an introduction to various business domains where analytics gets applied, whether it is marketing and CRM, whether it's finance and risk, whether it's supply chain and operations, and so on. This foundation layer is also the layer where you learn basic statistics. So we have designed the course and we deliver the course with the understanding that most of you have either not learned statistics after school or have learned it and have forgotten it. So we begin right from the very basics, and we spend a lot of time in building this foundation, because this, unless and until this foundation layer is strong, your learning in analytics will always be myopic, will always be short termed, right? And in order to avoid falling into that pitfall, it is important that you build on a very strong foundation. So the first 3 to 4 months of the program are completely spent in building this foundation. Once you complete the foundation module, you then go into a module that is dedicated to a deeper dive in analytics. And that is where you start learning advanced statistics, analytical techniques, predictive modeling techniques, data mining techniques, and advanced analytical techniques. This is also where you start applying tools to work on data sets and solve problems. In terms of tools, we cover both SAS and R. R is the primary tool that we cover in all our classroom sessions, and SAS is done online. Uh, Beyond that, for visualization, which is about presenting data or charting data, we use a tool called Tableau. And the final module, which runs for the final 3 to 4 months of the program, is the industry application module. This is where we get experts from the industry to come into the classroom and help you with various case studies in different business domains and different business contexts. So right from leaders from companies such as the American Express helping you or walking you through a case study which solves a problem in credit risk. When I say credit risk, it refers to potential risk of a customer who's applying for a credit card, to a marketing and retail company that solves a case study problem which is all around increasing revenues for a company, or targeting the right customers, or what kind of price bundling should happen, right? To a web and social media expert coming into the classroom and telling you how sentiment analysis happens. How do companies look at Twitter feeds to understand how their brand is performing, or to understand which segment of their customers are either having a fantastic experience or not having a very good experience, and work on that. So these are some of the very, very practical problems that get solved in the classroom, and this is completely done by industry experts. And again, not done in a theoretical standpoint, but done completely application oriented, which means you're working on these problems. Along with the industry application module, you also opt for a capstone project, which I shall again explain in detail. But just to give you a primer on that, a capstone project is a project that is modeled on a real world business problem, and you solve that again under guidance of either an industry mentor or a Great Lakes faculty. And these problems, we have worked with the industry to create such problems, and these problems have been created across various business domains and industry sectors. And you can opt and choose for the kind of problem that you want to solve. So overall, the learning objective is that by doing this program, you should be able to equip yourself with skills relevant to business roles in analytics. This is a little more detailed slide of what I just spoke about. You can see in terms of how you begin with introduction to analytics and statistical methods, and then you go into much more advanced analytical techniques, such as predictive modeling and data mining and advanced statistics and data visualization. And finally, what is presented in the red box are all the industry application modules where we have several industry experts participate in the classroom and walk you through actual case studies and problems in these domains. In terms of tools, I've already covered. We cover SAS and R in through all our classroom sessions, and SAS that happens online, and Tableau is our tool that we use for visualization. The program focuses a lot on application and experiential learning, and that's where capstone project comes in. That's where you will see a lot of case studies and data sets. As I've been telling you all, the idea is not to make statisticians. The idea is to make analytics professionals, which means you should have exposure, or you should get your hands dirty in terms of working with data and working with all aspects of data. Whether it is data cleansing, it's data ingestion, it's data assimilation, or data visualization, all of that. And finally, there are a lot of assignments that you will do. Every course will run its own set of assignments, and these assignments are again, a measure of how well you have learned or how well you can apply what you have learned in that given course. Another extremely unique aspect, and this is one of the aspects that is so much appreciated by the industry and has held the program in in good stead, is that candidates get domain exposure across multiple domains. You know, you get exposure across web and social media domain, and when I say domain exposure, I mean analytics implementation in these domains. So you see from the industry, or you learn from the industry, how analytics is solving a problem in the web and social media domain, in the financial and risk domain, in marketing and retail domain, and even in domains such as telecom or insurance or other domains that may get included. And the benefit of getting this multi-domain exposure is that, by the time you complete the program and you go out to the industry, you get a much more holistic perspective of solving problems. As you come to this module and you do these multiple domains, you will realize that the basic underlying statistical techniques or the analytical techniques don't change. Whether you do a sentiment analysis on Twitter using Twitter feed data, or whether you look at transaction history of a credit card customer to understand what kind of a risk is he or she at, or whether you look at telecom billing data to understand what kind of offer should be bundled, you will see it is a smaller set of statistical and analytical techniques that are getting applied to model the solution. But the way the solution gets modeled is completely different, because the business context in which you are solving these problems are completely different, right? One is understanding the social media sentiment, another is understanding financial risk, and the third is completely a pricing problem, right? So because of the change in business context, you get to solve different problems differently, and that is a fantastic asset to have as you complete the program. So that is what is getting taught in the program. So the next big question is, who are the people who are teaching in the program? First and foremost are Great Lakes faculty, and Great Lakes is now established as the leading analytics school in India. Because of the PGP-BABI program and our various other analytics initiatives where we have worked closely with the industry for over 5-6 years now. And we in our faculty roster, you will see a lot of esteemed and exceptional faculty from leading business schools and analytical institutes across the world. In fact, in a last year, in a study of top 10 analytics academicians, about three or four of those listed there were people who are our faculty. So that kind of shows you the extent of analytics expertise that exists with the faculty. And in the program, in the PGP-BABI program, we see to it that only the senior most faculty come and teach in the program so that all candidates get to learn from the best faculty that we have. Apart from the Great Lakes faculty, a considerable portion of the program is taught by industry faculty. Close to about 35 to 40% of the program is completely taught by industry faculty. Even beyond courses, industry faculty also come in for networking sessions and guest lecture sessions where they talk about the various issues in analytics or the upcoming trends in analytics or how should you be looking to build a career in analytics. And we have partnered with a lot of companies, over the past years, and we've had some fantastic people come into the classroom and teach or network or give guest lectures to our students, which have all led to these great transformational experiences. And this is, of course, a representative slide showing you the kind of companies that our experts come from. These include companies such as Genpact and American Express that do a lot of work in financial analytics, or Absolute Data that does a lot of work in marketing analytics. Similar is for Value Labs, which does a lot of work in machine learning and data science. Accenture, which is a full-blown analytics company across different services, and U Sigma, which of course is now India's leading analytics consulting company. Here is a list of some of the recent industry speakers that we've had in the program. So these are people from whom our candidates have had an opportunity to learn either through courses or guest lectures or networking sessions. And again, you can see the kind of seniority and also the kind of quality in terms of companies. You have people from Adobe and Citi and Flipkart. We've had the principal data scientist from Flipkart, who was earlier a data scientist at Google. We've had people from HSBC, gentlemen heading the finance analytics. Similarly, we've had CEOs of analytics companies come in and teach in the program. All in all, it is this aspect of the program, that is learning foundations and the underlying techniques from the best of analytics faculty at Great Lakes, and thereafter learning application and problem solving and networking with some of the eminent analytics leaders from the industry. It is the confluence of these two aspects that actually helps you derive the maximum value from the program. Another question that people often ask is that is this an academic program, or will I actually get some exposure to working with data sets? And more importantly, will I get my hands dirty? Is the program hands-on? And the answer to that is very simple. It is a completely hands-on program. Our when we started this program, or the reason why the program has garnered this recognition is not because we created theoretical analysis out of the program. It is because people who graduated from the program started contributing right from the day they finished the program. And that can only happen when there is a constant application oriented focus in the program. And you can see these across multiple aspects and multiple facets of our learning experience. Most of the courses that we do are done through case studies. We work, or we expect the candidates to work a lot on data sets. We have a lot of data sets published on our LMS, and you have to constantly keep working on them. We have best in class, one of the best in the world learning management systems that exposes you not just to different learning elements, but also helps you interact with your peers, post questions in the discussion forum seamlessly, access content anywhere, anytime. Industry-led modules are, again, as I've already spoken, are completely application-oriented. And finally, as they say, the icing on the cake or the cherry on the top is the capstone project, which is something that you do towards the end of your program, which is where you bring together everything that you learned in the program and solve it, in a business problem. And that brings me to a related question, which is, what is a capstone project? So capstone project or capstone projects are real world like business analytics problems that we have created along with the industry. So the way we've gone about is that we've partnered with our companies or our partner companies, and we've listed down projects in different sectors. So we have projects in financial analytics and risk analytics. We have projects in marketing analytics, CRM analytics, retail analytics. We have projects in web and social media analytics, supply chain and logistic analytics, and so on. And each of these problems that we have created in partnership with the industry are problems that are actual problems. So obviously the data set that you get is a mass data set. You will not be There will be no confidential information about customers that gets revealed, but it is modeled to represent what is actually happening in the industry. And when you are given a capstone project, you are given an open-ended problem statement, just like what I was telling you all in the introduction of the program, that the kind of problems that people are solving, right? So it is an open-ended business problem statement, which could be as open-ended as who are my best customers, or how do I increase my sales by 5%, or why are my customers leaving my product or service. It could be completely open-ended problem statement, and you're given a data dump, and you have to start working from there. So it is the experience that capstone project gives you is that it forces you to do the entire 9 yards. You begin right from data collection and data assimilation, and you go into data cleansing, you go into data ingestion. You first of all, you logically think of how are you going to solve this problem, then you model different approaches to solving the problem, then you run your different models and see what kind of accuracies are you getting. Then you transpose that into a business context and try and derive business inferences or business conclusions uh, in terms of what is advisable for the business. And then finally you present to a panel of experts, right? So it is as if you are a one man or one person analytics company that is going to solve this problem, and that's how you do. And these projects typically happen in groups of two or three, and you will have mentors. So it is not as if you are left to your own devices and there's nobody guiding you while you're doing this. You will be doing this project under the mentorship of either an industry mentor from that area or a Great Lakes faculty. And some of our candidates also opt to do capstone projects along with their existing employers. That is also a given provision which you can do, and if you can do that, that is very good, because that increases your visibility, within your existing employer, and leads to further career growth. And in that case, also we support it as long as the project that you want to do gets approved by the respective program director. Meaning that it should form a significant analytics problem. So what is important to understand about capstone projects is that these are not theoretical projects. Don't think of them as dissertations or just very superficial presentations that you're going to make. These are actually problem solving statements. And capstone project has the maximum number of credits in the program, which means that unless and until you ace your capstone project, there's no way you're going to complete the program. That is how much importance we have given to capstone projects. In fact, we have seen companies recruit candidates purely on the basis of the kind of fantastic work that they've done in their capstone projects. And capstone projects, I of course have told you only about the business use cases, but capstone projects, our candidates have done capstone projects on several social missions also, which have been received very well by the government, as well as have been published across media. So there have been projects on Swachh Bharat mission. Recently, there was a capstone project on Delhi Air Pollution Index. Another one that happened last year was on the Chennai floods. Again, all around how analytics can be used to solve this problem, right? And some of these in fact, all most of these capstone projects are listed on our website. Some of them have been covered by the industry also, so you can actually go read up on them and see in terms of what kind of learnings and what kind of application the candidates have shown. And it is important to note that this work is being done by people who until 9 or 10 months back had very little background in analytics. That is the kind of journey that they have traversed. By learning very well in the program. So here are some of the capstone projects that I have listed. I mean, this of course is an extremely small set. A much more expansive list is available on the website. Should you want to go through it, you can see, there's a social media analytics or a caption project that candidates did, which was analysis of social media campaign by Aam Aadmi Party, and it was more of a sentiment analysis using Twitter feed data. There have been projects, which have been done on credit cards. There have been projects on credit default. There have been projects about public policy decision on how to improve primary education. helping the government use analytics to solve the problem of primary education in India. And similarly, there another very well received project was the market basket analysis, where it was about an electronics company trying to understand or trying to do customer segmentation for its customers. So with this information that you have so far, uh, how would you decide that is this the right program for you? And there are a few pointers, or let me put it in another way, right? What makes you the right candidate for the program, right? And so who should pursue this program? Well, first and foremost, you should pursue this program if you are interested to transition, or if you're interested to build your career on the business side in analytics. And now let me take a couple of minutes to explain what do I mean by the business side of analytics, or the techno-functional side of analytics, something that I've been saying right from my earlier slides. So when you look at careers in analytics, there are broadly two different career tracks that you can have in analytics. One is on the technology side, is on the technical side. This is where you implement technical architecture and tools and latest technologies to be able to work with humongous amounts of data. Broadly or loosely, this is called as big data engineering teams that are there. Where the main competence that you have is the competence of understanding the underlying technology and building a scalable technology architecture so that you can solve challenging big data problems, right? So that is one line of career that you can build in analytics. Another line of career is where you use this technology architecture that has been built and solve business problems given the data that you have, right? And this is what is known as business roles in analytics, or techno-functional roles in analytics. Because this is where you are actually um looking at the business problem, looking at the business context, and then working on solutions that can solve that problem, right? So the PGP-BABI program by Great Lakes is the right program for you only if you want to be in this track, only if you want to be on the problem-solving track. If your aspirations are to, be a part of the technology or the engineering team in analytics companies that builds this scalable technology architecture, then this is not the right program for you. Then, of course, you also don't need to learn a lot of things that we're teaching, right? Then what you should be trying and doing is equipping yourself a lot more on the technology front, and not on the analytics front. But however, if your passion or your aspiration is to be one of those folks who is given challenging problems, and you solve those problems using data, then you have to gain these skill sets that I've mentioned before, and hence the program is the right program. At this point in time, it's also important for me to bust a few myths that keep going around. I've heard this over the years, and hence this compilation. So first of all, I hear a lot of candidates tell me that analytics is all technical, it's all technology, uh, and unfortunately, there's nothing that's farther from the truth. Because analytics is a means to an end. Analytics is about solving a business problem. Right? So the actual consumption or the consumer of your analytics service is not technology; it's actually business, right? So analytics is actually a business service, right? So it is not. So don't muddle it by saying that it is all technology, because it is not, right? So that is the first understanding that you need to have, and that is also an important realization that you should have as you build your career in this field, is that don't get lost in the array of tools and techniques and models and solutions that exist in solving a problem. Ultimately, your problem is, or your solution is only as good as the problem it has solved, right? So if you were given a task of increasing or suggesting ways to increase revenues by 5%, looking at data, irrespective of the most complicated model that you built or the most sophisticated technology architecture that you've scaled up, if your solution does not achieve that objective, then it is no good, right? So hence it is important to understand that analytics will always get applied in business context, right? So don't lose focus of the business problem it is solving. The other common myth or the common question that I encounter from a lot of students is that, don't you always have to be an engineer to do well in analytics, or shouldn't you be a statistician? So I think I've clearly explained about how statisticians and analytics professionals are two different breeds. So it's not as if you have to be a statistician to be an analytics professional. Let me also address this part, that how important is an engineering background for you to do well in analytics. I think the confusion arises because you need to work in analytics, you need to work with tools, right? But that is also where the similarity ends, right? So in our previous batches, in our if you look in our own alumni base, or even if you look at some of the most prominent leaders in analytics, you will see that a lot of them are not engineers, are not statisticians. They're not from an engineering background at all. In fact, in our own list of alumni who are doing fantastically well, we have seen candidates from economics backgrounds, from arts backgrounds, from non-science backgrounds, go on to do fantastically well in analytics, right? And that is what gives us the confidence that it is not about coming from an engineering background. Of course, the fact is that you will have to learn these tools, and learning these tools means that there is a considerable effort on your part because you're not from that background. But that is all that is there to it. So the first 3 or 4 months you may have to put in more effort as compared to someone who's coming in from a similar background. But after that, you are on an equal footing and on the same pedestal. And it is from there on, it is about how well you understand the techniques, how well you understand the business problem, and how well you model your solution and present it, right? And at that point in time, there is no specific advantage or disadvantage that one has because we are from an engineering background. The third, common myth or common question that comes my way is that, I thought analytics was all SAS or was all R or was all Hadoop. Why do I have to learn everything else? Why can't I just do a Hadoop certification or an R certification or a SAS certification? Well, again, the reasoning is the same. That tools is what you use, right? But before even you get to the tools, you have to know in terms of what to do. What kind of a problem are you going to solve? What is the solution? What kind of techniques are you going to use? So tools is a very, very small part of the entire learning in analytics. In fact, I even go out of my way and say that don't worry about learning tools, because you will pick up tools. Learning tools is by far one of the easiest things to learn. Secondly, the shelf life of a tool is very, very less. So about 3.5 years back when we started the program, we used to teach SAS. There was no R in our first batches that we taught. Because SAS was the market leader. SAS had over 80-85% market share. Today, as things stand, R is increasing in adoption, and it in fact has more market share than SAS now, right? That's why we teach both. In a few years from now, it is not entirely unimaginable to think that both these tools may not exist and there may be some other tool, right? So if you are going to base your career growth on the proficiency of a tool that then you are, putting yourself in a lot of risk, because you're going to continuously have to keep learning more and more tools, right? And as I've said already, that learning tools is not the hard part, right? Don't worry about that. Worry about the fact that how well are you learning the foundation, how well are your fundamentals strong, and how well are you learning the analytical techniques. So a corollary question to who should pursue this course is who should not pursue this course. So I think I have given a few indicators. One clear indicator is that if you are interested in a technology track in analytics, then this is not the right course for you. If you want to limit your learning only to tools in analytics, then again, there's no need for you to spend so much time or effort in pursuing our course. In fact, to learn R or SAS, I don't think you should be spending any money, because it's all available online now. It's free. Another important aspect is that don't come into the program thinking that it's going to be a walk in the park and it's going to be really easy to clear it. That's not the case. It is a rigorous and exhaustive program, and the only reason why we have been recognized so highly by the industry is because of the rigor and the quality that the program creates. And that quality can only be created if we are extremely careful and extremely particular about our candidates meeting learning objectives. And that's why the program is rigorous. That's why it's exhaustive. So you should be prepared to commit at least 7 to 8 hours every week towards whatever is being taught in the program, towards self-learning. And if you are not in a position to commit that kind of a time for the next 1 year, then you may not really have a very pleasant experience in the program. The other aspect is that the program has a lot of evaluations. So it is not as if you get admitted into the program and 12 months later you get a certificate and you graduate from the program. Every course in the program runs its own evaluation, which is again largely application oriented evaluation, which means there will be assignments for you to do, there could be quizzes for you to do, there will be you will be evaluated on how well you are participating in classroom discussions, whether it is an online session or a classroom session, or webinar participation and so on. So there's a lot of application oriented evaluation that's happening, and unless and until you clear all the evaluations, which means unless and until you clear all the courses, you will not graduate from the program. Of course, you will, let's say you do not clear a given course, we give you the flexibility, we give you multiple attempts to clear that course. But finally, to graduate from the program, you will have to clear the course, and you will have to demonstrate to faculty and to yourself that how many of those learning outcomes that were established for that course have you achieved. Another very common question that I get is that, this program is for working professionals. Now, all of you know that. And most of the professionals who pursue the program come with considerable amount of work experience. So the average experience in our class is about 8.5 years. It ranges all the way from 3 years to 30 years. So, it is plausible to think that because of your work schedule or some other commitments, you may have to miss a class here and there. And what happens if you miss a class? So this is where a very unique aspect of the program, because of our experience and having worked or having trained so many working professionals over the years that we developed, is that there is a lot of flexibility given. You know, so the first aspect of the flexibility is that all classrooms sessions get recorded. So every classroom session gets recorded and it's put on the learning management system, which means that even if you miss a lecture or you miss a day's class, you will still have access to everything that was taught on that given day. You can always go back, look at the entire classroom recording, learn for yourself. You can then further participate through our learning management system in classroom discussions, in peer discussions. You can pose questions to our teaching faculty and teaching assistants, and they will help you out in understanding. Further, there are webinars that we do for query resolution. You can come to those webinars. You could even schedule a time with the faculty the next time they're in the city and clear your doubts. Uh, Also, evaluations being assignment based, which means that you get the time to go back and relearn everything that was taught in the classroom and then apply yourself and solve the evaluation. Finally, we even allow you to re-attend a session of a course. So let's say if you missed certain parts of a given course because of your travel, and you want to come back and re-attend it the next time it is offered, you are more than welcome to do that. All you have to do is inform our program office that you wish to re-attend a given course, and they will tell you the next time it happens, and you're more than welcome. So there is no extra penalty, there's no extra charges that we tax you on. And that is the flexibility that we give. Another aspect that I forgot to mention on the slide is that now, because the program happens in 6 different cities in India, it is increasingly common for us to hear cases where people are moving cities. So you may have been working in Bangalore when the program started, but then your job has now taken you to, let's say, Bombay or Pune or Gurgaon, and you want to continue the program, obviously. And the flexibility that we give you there is that you can go and continue from any of these centers. So you could have begun the program from one center, but you can finish it in another center. And there also, it's not as if you have to begin all the way from scratch. You can continue your program in a new center from exactly the same point where you left off. And it is important to understand that this is only becoming possible because we have standardized the program across all cities, which is easier said than done. It is a humongous task to do that. But thanks to our faculty and program management and the immense amount of planning and detailing that goes into it, we have always made it a point that the learning outcomes that you get in the program, irrespective of whether you do the program from Chennai or Bangalore or Gurgaon or any other city where the program is, continue to stay the same. Which means the quality of faculty that you interact with, the kind of content that you see, the kind of problems that you solve, the kind of industry faculty that come and teach you, the learning that you have in the course stays the same irrespective of the city where you're going to pursue the program. And that is a great benefit to have, because it gives you so much more flexibility and does not penalize you for having to change the city in a given span. Another common question is, is there placement assistance in the program? Do we have career services in the program? So yes, we do have career services in the program, but before I get to that, one thing that I want to very clearly dispel is that we don't make any claims of guaranteed placements or assured placements or anything like that, because I think these are falsified claims, and I would be very wary of anyone who makes that, and I would advise the same for you also. So what do we do in our career services? It's important to understand that. So there are basically four different aspects to career services. First and foremost is that we, apart from of course teaching you analytics and all of that and helping you build those key competencies, in addition to that we do career development workshops and boot camps, which is where we get industry experts to come into the classroom and help you or guide you in terms of what makes a good analytics resume, how to prepare for analytics interviews and case studies, what kind of questions do companies ask, what kind of skill sets are companies looking for, which kind of companies are the right companies for you, and so on. Secondly, because of the increasing footprint of the program, we get a lot of requests from companies that are looking to hire talent from the program. So we get a lot of lateral opportunities that get posted to us. So what we do is that we maintain a very, very active job board in the learning management system. So once you have enrolled into the program, you will see that there is a very active job board where opportunities keep getting posted, and at any point in time you can go and look at these opportunities. You can see that which are the different companies that have shared their openings with us. You can read the job descriptions and you can apply to the ones that you think you're a good fit for. Once you apply, we share your resume with these companies, and thereafter the process happens between the company and the candidate. So that's the way we do it, and this has resulted in a lot of career transitions, and I think I have an upcoming slide on that. Another aspect that where we have seen a lot of results happening is the peer-to-peer networking. Don't forget the fact that you're learning with a very, very influential set of peers in this program. So any center that you are going to be pursuing the program from, you will learning with another 60 odd people who are all working in fantastic companies across experience ranges, some at very, very senior levels and crucial decision makers, right? And that networking opens up doors like nothing, right? So hence it is important to understand that aspect. Finally, the industry connect, so the ability to interact with so many industry professionals who come and participate in the classroom discussions, and that networking that you build also gets you a foot in the door with their organizations. So we've had a lot of cases of career transition. We've seen candidates transitioning from IT roles to analytics roles within the same organization. We've seen candidates being recruited by their own PGP-BABI batchmates. That has happened a lot. We've had several cases where we've seen senior professionals in our program actually build analytics teams by recruiting their own batchmates. We've seen alumni come back and recruit candidates. We've seen candidates converting opportunities with our corporate partners, and of course, a lot of candidates converting these lateral opportunities that are presented through our job boards. So, in our last audited report, which we released about a month back, we've now recorded that 66% of our alumni have transitioned to analytics roles within 6 to 12 months of graduating. And that is, I think, unprecedented. I am not aware of any executive program in the country, and maybe there are only very few in the world that can record or report, figures that are so high. And the reason is, of course, analytics is a booming field. There are a lot of opportunities in analytics. There's no denying that. But there's also another very important aspect is also the fact that companies are valuing, or the industry values, what you get to learn in this program. So as long as you can demonstrate that you are somebody who is trained well in analytics and who has the requisite, skill sets, uh, you will have more opportunities than what you can imagine. The question then is, of course, of converting those opportunities, which is all about your own preparation and your hard work. Right? So at no point in time am I trying to paint a picture that you don't have to work hard and as soon as you come into a program you get a job. That's not the case at all. But having said that, you can see all these examples. There are a lot of examples mentioned on our website also on the program page of under Great Learning Stories, where you can see all these examples of people who have completely, jump ship their career into analytics. And it is important not to disregard or not to take the kind of dedication that they put in lightly. So as long as you are prepared to work hard and you put in all the efforts to showcase or demonstrate the competence that you gained in analytics, believe me, this is one of the best times to be an analytics professional. So hence, you can also see some of the recent companies where our alumni have, secured career opportunities. And again, it's a wide range of companies, right from Amazon to New Sigma to, in fact, we have alumni working with Government of India as well in their analytics team, and SmartCube and Cognizant and so on. Towards the bottom half of the slide, you can also see that the roles that our alumni have transitioned to. So, depending upon experience, you can see that there is a whole spectrum of experience out there. There are people with lesser amounts of experience who become business analysts and senior business analysts or pricing analysts. There are people who have gone on to become ADPs and senior data scientists and so on. So these transitions have happened across a wide spectrum of experience. I'm sure you all are eager to know in terms of some statistics on who are the people who are pursuing this PGP-BABI program. So if you remember earlier, I mentioned that the this program also happens to be the largest executive analytics program in the country. So every year now there are about 1,000 candidates who pursue the program across our different centers, and we've been we've been really fortunate to have a fantastic set of candidates every single time. And of course, there is a rigorous selection process as well that they have to go through. And I think the stats will speak for themselves. So you can see diversity is a very key component of our hiring into a batch. In terms of experience spread, it goes all the way from 3 years to 30 years. Most of our candidates fall in the 7 to 13-year experience bracket. The average experience is about 8.5 years. Again, about 25% of our candidates will have more than 12 or 13 years. So half the class would be, more would be senior professionals as well. In terms of industry spread, about 48% of our candidates come from IT and technology companies. Another 24% of our candidates come from analytics companies. About 16% come from BFSI consulting research backgrounds, and 11% are split across various industries such as manufacturing, automotive, energy, healthcare, and so on. Again, there is a representative set of companies here. So again, a very small set of companies, because obviously we cannot mention companies for 1,000 candidates in a given slide. But you can see the kind of spread that you're seeing there. You have an FMCG such as Dabur, you have technology companies such as Infosys, Cognizant, uh, you have product companies such as Cisco, Oracle, you have consulting companies such as Deloitte, you have banks there, you have an automobile company such as Renault, and of course you have an analytics, major companies such as New Sigma as well. So that gives you an indication of the quality of your peers, the quality of candidates that you're going to be learning with. And that is the hallmark of any good executive management program. Ultimately, the set of batchmates that you're going to learn with are relationships that you're going to own for a lifetime. And when you get to learn with a really influential and really eclectic set of professionals, the kind of networking opportunities and the kind of relationships that you invest in, uh, the quality of those is just so much more. We've had a lot of our alumni kind enough to come back and comment on the program and endorse the program. And then again is a much wider section on the website where we have captured a lot of their stories. In fact, interestingly, I must tell you that just a few days back, we got to know that one of our alumni from the earlier batches won the Capgemini Data Scientist Challenge. So that is the kind of achievements that alumni are, are the kind of impact that the alumni are having. And this is, of course, not an exception. There are so many alumni who have gone on to do so well in their careers and, win various contests or challenges that are hosted by companies. Again, for a much deeper read, I would suggest you should look at the website, which will have a lot more information. So finally, that was the information about the postgraduate program in Business Analytics and Business Intelligence by Great Lakes, and here is the fact sheet. As I mentioned, it is the largest executive program in analytics that happens in the country. It is now ranked number one for the second year in running. Uh, we've recorded a phenomenal number of career transitions for our candidates, probably one of the highest in the country for executive programs. In terms of impact of learning, we've delivered over 450,000 plus learning hours in analytics. So that is the kind of expertise and pedigree that our faculty carries. Uh, and overall, we've trained more than 2,000 students by now. The program is offered, as of now, the program is offered in 6 cities in India. We have Chennai, we have Bangalore, we have Pune, we have Gurgaon, we have Hyderabad, and now we also have Bombay. And admissions are on for uh, a first come first serve basis, which means that as you apply into the program, let me actually just talk you through the admission process. As when you apply to the program, you are first shortlisted, and because of the scale of applications that we get, we ourselves have employed analytic solutions and technologies to solve these problems. So you are shortlisted through an automated fashion depending upon the keywords that you have, in your profile and the kind of diversity you're going to add to the class. Once that happens, you then go through a manual screening process wherein your profile is looked at in greater detail. Post that, if you get shortlisted, you are called in for a telephonic interview, which is an automated telephonic interview that happens. If you clear that automated telephonic interview, you are either put into a wait list or a merit list. If you are on the merit list, there is an offer that gets extended to you with deadlines in terms of confirmation and payment, and it happens on a first come first serve basis. So as our batch gets filled up, we close admissions and we move candidates to the next batch that gets enrolled. So a point being that if you are interested in pursuing the program, it always helps to be in the earlier set of applicants, because as the that's it from my side. Thank you so much for spending this time. On this slide, you can also see the contact details. I have listed down my email ID. My name is Hari, and I'm the director admissions for the program across all centers. The admissions office contact details in terms of phone number and email ID is also mentioned there. So, should you feel the need to reach out to either of us, feel free to do that. Let me quickly take a few questions. We are running about 5 minutes behind schedule, but let me try and take a few questions that I have not covered, so that you all can benefit from it. So I have a question about international recognition. So I think that is where IIT Chicago as a partner really helps. And the fact is that we got qualified for this international recognition only because of the pedigree and the quality of education that's happening in the program. And being jointly certified by IIT Chicago, of course, gives you an international recognition for you to pursue a career abroad as well. Also, I must tell you, IIT Chicago is one of the top 10 analytics and data science schools in US. There's a question about 66% candidates who were able to switch to analytics roles. So what is important to understand is that not everybody is looking for a job change who comes into the program, right? So as you can see, about 20 odd percent people who come into the program are already from analytics. Secondly, there are a lot of senior candidates who pursue the program because they have to build analytics teams, or they've gotten analytics projects where they have to build that competency. So not everybody is looking for an immediate job change, and that is why you see that difference. And fact of the matter is that for some people it will take more time, because it is a question about the kind of effort you put in, and it is a question about the kind about how well you're able to demonstrate your competencies in analytics. Some people who put in that dedicated effort throughout the year and do well in the program, meet success early, and some others will have to slog it out even more. There's a question about, is this recommended for candidates with younger experience in terms of 2 to 3 years? So as I said, we do take younger candidates also. So for example, 25% of our class would be less than 5 years, would be in that, usually 3 to 5, in exceptional cases between 2 and 3 also. So as long as you are sure about the fact that you want to pursue analytics as a career option, we've seen a lot of success with younger candidates also. Question about the cost of these tools. So I think let me just explain that. So essentially, see, R is open source, so there's no cost attached to it. SAS has a student license now. They have a university license through which you can learn SAS. So that is what we use. Uh, if you have to go on to use SAS Minor or any of the advanced SAS packages, then of course you'll have to pay as an individual. But usually companies pay for that. And similarly, Tableau again has a university license that is used for teaching Tableau. I have another question, which shall be the last question for this session, is about how long do you have access to the LMS? This is actually a very good question, and let me take that. So LMS access is actually for a lifetime. So it is not as if once you graduate from the program, your LMS access is cut off. In fact, your LMS access continues, as long as you want to learn. And in that LMS, all of your learning content continues to persist. So all the courses, all the videos, all the assignments, everything continues to persist. Beyond that, at any point in time, even after graduating, you will have access to the job boards where we keep posting jobs, even as an alumni. We also keep sharing videos from industry guests, and we also keep sharing a lot of articles that help you learn more about analytics. So all of that access continues to be there, as long as you want. A few questions that I have not answered, so I will request my team to reach out to all of you individually and answer your questions. You can of course email me as well, and I'll be happy to answer some of these questions. I hope you found this session useful, and it gave you more clarity about analytics as an industry, as a career option, and the program in detail. And once again, thank you so much for joining me on weekday afternoon. I know it can be really tough to take this time out. I just truly appreciate your cooperation and your interest in the program. And I look forward to seeing some of you in one of our centers in the times to come. Thank you so much, and all the best. Have a great day and a fantastic career.